Hello and welcome back to Misery Loves Mandy, where comedians talk about miserable moments and whether or not they made them into jokes. This week's guest is Paul Virzi. I was so excited to have him on. He was in town visiting for the Netflix is a Joke Festival, and he just had so many wise things to say for any comedians watching this. I felt great after listening, and I'm holding on to so many things that he said. So make sure to like and subscribe, share with a friend, and enjoy. You guys came like perfect weather this week for Netflix is a Joke.
Yeah.
It's beautiful out.
It's been really nice. It's really nice. But I'm kind of laying low. You know, I'm kind of like just doing the promo thing.
Yeah.
Not really. You know, a lot of times I come out here, I do spots, or like I'll run around and do some shows. But this week it's like I got the Troubadour Friday night, and I'm just doing spots, plugging that, and I'm just kind of relaxing.
That sounds
you know?
nice.
Yeah, I got 2 kids, and yeah, it's nice. It's just like and I haven't drank in about like 33 days.
Damn, I've done a few months. Like I always do dry January every year.
Yeah.
And then February comes and I'm like, I can't fuck this up.
Yeah, I know. And I've been and I that's how I'm like. I'm like right now. I'm like 33 days in. I feel good. I'm sleeping good. You know, lost a ton of weight. Me and my wife went to Jamaica. Then we got back from Jamaica. We went to Florida, and it was just like drinks and then wine at dinner. And I'm like, you know, I need to shut this down for a little bit.
Yeah,
and I had a physical, and the doctor was like, dude. He was like, your fucking liver enzymes are.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, you've been drinking, and I was like, yeah.
Oh,
and he was like, yeah. He's like, let me see you back in 3 months, and we'll figure it out. So, but I knew it was like the wrong time to get a physical.
That is
Like,
the worst timing.
Yeah, I know. I drank. I wanted to tell him before I got there. I wanted to be like, dude, I've been drinking for
Just
6
test it
weeks.
out,
Like
though.
I've been drinking every night for 6 weeks. Like the blood's not going to come back okay. But I don't want you to think I'm an alcoholic or anything. So, but it's all good. I feel good.
Well, first of all, like
There we
when
go.
you go to the doctors,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the dentist where you kind of want to plan out before your blood work.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
can I trick them that doesn't show that I go out every night?
Yeah, like I think like doing quick things like walking the dog twice. Like I'll walk the dog like around. Like no, I think I'm on the right track. But I knew going in, I was like, there's no way the blood's not going to show this because I'm drinking. You know, because we were in Jamaica and we stayed at this like beautiful all inclusive, and it's like everything opens at 10. So 10 o'clock, you just get like a banana daiquiri, and then, oh, what do you want? Oh, you want to start doing gin and tonics? And you're drinking by the beach in the pool all day. And then you go home, you shower, you go back out, and you're like, hey, let's get a bottle of red, you know? And doing that every night, it got to the point where even we were both like done with Jamaica. We were done. I was just
I'm
like,
sure by the
all
end
right,
of that.
I was done.
How long were you there for?
We were there for, I believe we went for 4 nights.
Okay.
4 nights, and the resort was right next to the airport. And you always get like, you know what's funny too? I want to do something on stage about this where every time you go away, people always say like the same shit to you, right? They're always like, don't leave the resort. Don't leave the resort,
they
you know?
do.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and it's like I'm not planning on it. Like I'm not I'm swimming with dolphins and I got a daiquiri. Like where am I going?
Why would I want to leave
Yeah, like I'm not going to
this?
downtown Montego Bay to hang out with the fucking locals. And I think it's a jealousy thing. I think it's a jealousy thing. Because you're like, hey, me and my, you know, we're going to Jamaica, we're going to Montego Bay, we're going to, really? Oh, well, I'd be careful. I just read online, it's like level 3 alert, you know, and I'm like, come on, man.
Test them.
Yeah.
Test them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing like you want to do. Like I've done the all-inclusive.
Yeah.
But like when I went to Punta Cana.
Punta Cana, yeah. Is that Dominican Republic? Yeah.
All-inclusive, first time I did that, and it was during that time where everyone was dying.
Yeah, like everyone's getting kidnapped.
I went exactly that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go.
Yeah. And I do have dumb friends that will be like, hey, you want to venture? Like, you want to go out and see what downtown's like? And I'm like, no. I have zero desire to go down to downtown, Punta Cana, whatever the fuck it is, and do that. You know, but I'm very, like, I'm different than some of my friends. I'm not a nature. I'm like I want like amenities and I want cucumber water when I get in the hotel and shit. But I'm not like a snob. Like I'm not like a prima donna. I just like, you know, because when I was coming up in this business, it was, you know, it was horrible, like comedy condos. And, you know, you stay at these places and it's like now I'm like, no, that the two things I really kind of care about are the flight and the hotel.
I get that.
I feel like, I put my time in.
Yeah, you
where
deserve
it's like,
it.
I'm not doing that. Yeah.
And your wife doesn't want to have to deal with that shit either.
No, for sure.
Staying on vacation. You gotta get a nice place.
You gotta.
I couldn't relate more, though, to the drinking thing. Because, like, I love drinking. Not an alcoholic at all.
Sure.
But, like, first of all, our job is always around it.
Yeah.
Vacation is nonstop.
Nonstop.
So that's why every time I check myself, too, like, when I'm like, this.
Yeah.
When I, like, at the end of the week and think, like, I think I drank every night. And it wasn't, like, a lot.
Sure.
Like, maybe just 1 or 2 drinks at, like, every... Things just happened, and I'm like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is so bad.
Yeah, it adds up, and you don't realize it. I think you don't realize it, and you lie to yourself. We lie to ourselves. Like, when I was drinking, you know, on vacation and then going to Florida drinking, you don't realize, like, your body's taking a beating.
Big time.
And you're just like, oh, I'm at the beach. I'm getting tan. I'm in the fucking pool. And you're waking up feeling like shit. I haven't woken up with a hangover in 33 days. And it's amazing. Like, I'm sleeping. I'm getting rest. And like, I'm, you know, you deal with things. Problems are way bigger when you wake up with a hangover, right?
Everything sucks.
Everything. You wake up like borderline suicidal. Like I like the thought of death, like the thought of dying in that moment is almost a relief. Like, you're just like, dude, if I died right now, God forbid, but if I died right now, like, I wouldn't have to deal with what I have to deal with in the next 8 to 12 hours. And I think that's why people stay in bed. Like, so I don't like that feeling.
No.
I don't like the feeling of anxiety in the morning. I don't like the feeling of, like, the problems being magnified. The problems are just so much more, and you don't realize, you're like, no, that's in my head.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the alcohol. So now that I'm not doing it, and it sucks too, because I just did this Netflix as a joke, and all things comedy golf outing, and it was like nuts. Like, all these people were there, and these celebrities and these stars, and I was playing with Drew Bledsoe, and he gave me this bottle of wine that was like insane. It's like retail on it is like if you got it in a restaurant, it's like $3.50, and it's like their best Cabernet, and like it's just sitting in my hotel room sealed, and like, you know, and I'm like, part of me, like the old me would have been like, all right, you know, I'll drink like 2 glasses tonight, 2 glasses tomorrow, but I just know how I'm gonna feel, so I'm just gonna save it, you know. I don't know if I could fly with it, so if I can't fly with it, I'll give it to somebody. But it was tempting, but I think that the better I feel is outweighing
for sure
doing it.
This is the thing that makes me feel crazy,
Yeah.
because like I get it, like I get it, and I'm like at this like weird point in my life where I think I would be just better off just stopping, because of how good I feel, and like productivity wise, everything. I did a Cinco de Mayo episode for the podcast, 2 Cutwaters. Done for 2 days.
Yeah.
It was a 2-day hangover.
And you're in 30s?
Yeah.
Early
30s. No, I'm 33.
Yeah.
That just meant like I shouldn't be getting that already.
Yeah, like once you hit, like that's the thing. Like once I hit 40, and it happens quick, like you feel like once like 35, 36 is when it like hits you work. Like
it didn't get worse.
Like add a day or two. I'm talking like if you get fucking hammered.
Yeah.
Like if you get blackout hammered, that's a 4-dayer. You know, so I just know that, and I don't, you know, like, and you just hit on something that's 100% true. I feel like being being productive is so much better when you're just like, I couldn't imagine, like I'm running around Los Angeles and it's fine. Like I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing radio and stuff, and it's fine. But if I was hungover this morning and I had to be somewhere, and then you want to be funny, or you want to at least be alert, you want to be on, and the drinking just, so me and my family go away every August we get a beach house, and that's where, so I'm going to try to wait. My goal is I may have two times where I'm doing a theater show in New York. I may have a drink after that, and then I have a big 4th of July party. So I'm thinking those 2 times maybe, and then I really want to wait until the middle of August. Yeah. And I'm going to see if I can do it. And like I've already, just in like 33 days, lost like 8 pounds, 10 pounds, just by not drinking.
Isn't that crazy? The calories just in alcohol?
Because it's just the sugar. It's
so much shit.
Sugar. It's so bad. You know, I know. And then you see, and I've had so many like I mean, there was just free booze all over this golf course. Just everybody, just free, just everything, free, just wine and beer. You stop at a hole. Oh, there's beer. There's a station. And I'm just like, man, I'm good.
That's a feat.
It's hard. Yeah, it is.
Diet
it is.
Coke, right?
Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Diet Coke is my, like, that's like for me. I'm like, all right, it's not great, but it's not booze.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll do a Diet Coke. But you know what I really got into that's
What's
been
that?
helping? Non-alcoholic beers.
Oh, because I've never explored that.
Oh my God. I wish I had one in the fridge. I'm obsessed with this brand. I was like at like a Super Bowl party when someone had one, and it was right after the Super Bowl's always right after Dry January.
Okay.
So it's always like my first drink.
Yeah.
And then every time I'm like, don't do it. You've made it so far. And then this one girl had they're like called Athletic Co. They're like this like cool non-alcoholic beer. For like marathon runners and fitness people.
See, I think, and this is just my personality maybe, I think I would be halfway done a cold non-alcoholic, and I'd be like, fuck this and get a real one. I'd be like, dude, I need to, like, I don't want to, if I'm going to taste this, I need to get the feeling from it. But yeah, people do swear by them.
It's like a placebo effect though.
Oh, okay.
So it's, because like I would think the same.
Oh, okay.
You're like holding it and it puts you in like, first of all, I love beer. Like, I love the taste of beer.
You do, okay.
So, like, that's like, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm holding it, and I'm like, okay. And then no one's saying shit to you, which is another half of the battle, because people do not want you to not drink if you're not sober.
Yeah, that I don't like that.
I hate it.
I'm like, I get a little bitter. I'm like, fuck you. Like, because it's a projection of jealousy.
Yeah.
It is. Anytime you're trying to do something to better you, and people can't, you know, they'll be like, oh, what are you going to go all summer with that? And it's because they can't.
Yes.
They can't go. You know, everyone's like, let's just try a couple weeks at first or try 30 days. And people are like, why? Just in moderation. But it's because they can't do it. So they're going to shit on you for doing it.
For sure.
It's just what it is.
Oh, that reminds me. Did you, one of the segments I do is the weekly wiener.
Okay. I remember go ahead. Tell me again. I'm sorry. I remember the embarrassing shit.
We don't even have to do the segments, but this is just something that bugs you more than it should have.
Yeah.
And that just made me think of this.
Yeah.
So I have friends that know I'm a healthy person. Like I eat really well.
Yeah.
Like I'm very particular with my cheat meals. It's when I want.
Sure.
Leave me, get your shit away from me.
Yeah.
And I have these friends that will always text me. Like, I just made, they're neighbors. They're going to know it. They're not listening. My neighbors keep offering me their leftovers and their pastries and their, like, baked goods all the time. Yeah. But I always write, hey, being healthy, can't have that. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
But, like, it won't fucking stop.
Yeah.
Stop texting me pictures of your pastries.
Yeah. And how do you get out of that? Like, because you don't want to be rude.
You know, it's so nice.
It's nice. It's a nice gesture. But in your mind, you're like, can you fucking stop? Because I'm trying to. Yeah, no. I did a joke in my special where, like, when I start getting my shit together, like, my wife will, like, she'll start, like, there'll be cakes around and there'll be food around. And I'm like, is this a coincidence? Are you trying? Like, is this a coincidence? And so many people relate to it. But yeah, I can't, like, if I'm telling you I'm health conscious, if you know, then just kind of don't send a cake to you.
I don't want your cake.
Yeah, it's like, I'll get it. Or you could just be like, I have my cheat days. Please stop, you fat fuck. You know, stop doing this to me.
God, I hate when people do nice shit that makes me feel mean. I'm like, sometimes I'll just take it and toss it. Like, but then I'm like, now I'm wasting their shit. Yeah,
you have a good, that sounds like you have a good heart. Like, that's the thing. People that are nice have a hard time being like that. I have like the funny thing about comedians is, well, there's so much mental illness, and like I have comedian friends. Like, I don't know if you know Bobby Kelly. But Robert Kelly, he's we do this podcast together called Bone to Pick, and he's like, he would literally and he's a great guy and he's a great father, but he would literally be like, if you fucking text me food again, how many fucking he's like, he goes right for, you know.
I love those kinds of people.
No, I do too. I would have to be like, like what you would do probably drunk or buzzed is his sober life. Like, he just has that thing. Like, somebody asked us about a podcast or something, and they were like, hey, do you mind? Can I get on the podcast? And he just was like, no. and I stayed silent. I was just like, I can't, like, whether he's right or not, I'm just like, dude, I can't do that. Like,
that's so funny.
we were at a business meeting once and we're just eating at this steakhouse. We're at this fucking steakhouse in Manhattan, and we got the shrimp came out and this what is it, spinach and all these like sides, and we're eating, and he just like looks at the dude we're with,
Oh, no.
and he just goes, look, this is what it is. It's me and him, okay? So you don't fucking have a say. Just like the way he did it, and I'm just like, oh.
I'm your character
I'm just,
in that,
yeah,
for sure.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm not somebody that doesn't like confrontation. If it has to happen, it has to happen.
Yeah.
But I kind of want it to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm kind of laid back. So yeah, but I guess you need the yin and the yang, right? You need that.
I just started a second podcast recently, and my co-host is that person too.
Yeah, that'll just say it.
That she and I every time I will be in these situations, I'm like half like dying inside and half like this is so fucking awesome because I could never do that.
Yeah, and it's good to have one person be able to do it, and have the other person. You know, you guys kind of balance each other out. That's how that's why relationships work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife and I couldn't be more different. Could not be more different. You know, I'm very like laid back. Like I'll book a trip. I'll go to the airport that day. And she's like, "What?" Like what? She started crying. She started crying one time.
No.
She started crying. So I wouldn't fly until I started to fly in 2005.
Really?
I wouldn't fly.
Oh wow! Like, did you fly before and then stop, or?
Yeah, like I flew rarely.
Okay.
Before. And now I'm on 50 flights a year.
Yeah.
Or like now for me, it's like getting in a car, and I mean for almost 20 years all the time, so it's fine. But I would do it before 05, but I hated it, and I would not want to do it, and I drove everywhere. Like I drove to Milwaukee.
Damn.
I drove to Milwaukee. I drove to Denver, 25 hours because I'd book a plane, and then I have like a thought, and so. Anyway, I had to be out here doing a show. I had to be out here doing a show at the Hollywood Improv, and this is like 05. One of my buddies who put together a show of some East Coast comics coming to LA and doing the Hollywood Improv, the main room. And I remember I was like so nervous about it, and I was like, I got to do this. I can't believe I got to do this. And we were at a brewery.
Okay.
I was at a brewery with somebody, and I'm just tasting beers, and I'm tasting beers. Now I had to fly like 2 days from now. From this moment, and I'm just tasting beers, and all of a sudden I start getting fucked up, and I'm like, oh shit, I start feeling good, and I just go, I gotta go now, I gotta go right now. So I get home drunk. I walked in my door drunk, and this is like 2 years, but we're living together. It's like 2 years before we got married, and I walk in, and she goes, what? And I go, I'm going to LA right now.
Oh my
and
God.
she goes, you didn't even book a flight. I go, I'm going right now. I got to go. We're going to call a car service. And I was hammered. And the car comes, and my she's crying. She's like, who does this? She's like, what? It's she's like, it's going to be like $600 one way. I'm like, I'm going now. I'm like, this is how it's going to have to happen. And I took a Xanax, and I'm on the way, and I got there. I went up to the counter, Virgin Atlantic, whatever, and I bought like a five. I went to who goes to a counter? Who goes to a counter? What is this, 1985?
90s,
yeah, like
yeah, 90s movie.
I literally just showed up and went, yeah, it's like a 90s movie. I just showed up, and I was like, how many? They were like, it's $500 some dollars. I paid it. I got on the plane, and but one thing that was crazy that happened was I'm on the plane, and when I got on the plane, I was feeling great because I had a Xanax and a couple of drinks.
Oh yeah.
And I say to the flight attendant, I go, oh no, I feel great, man. I took a Xanax. I'm ready. Can I get a vodka soda? And she goes, hold on, I don't know if I could give you one. And I didn't realize that you're not supposed to have a Xanax with. You're not supposed to have a Xanax with booze.
Yeah.
So she's like, listen, I'll give you one for now. And she did, but then I found out, and people were like, yeah, you could really, like, something could happen. But that was the only way I would do it. And my wife is so opposite that. Like, my wife that trip would be planned. I mean, that trip would be planned. I mean, 7 months. Or pick our meals, months. Like, she's so responsible, and she's so much more. I'm definitely the laid back one. She would admit that, but yeah, I'm like more kind of like, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And she's more like, no. So, but it works.
You definitely need, like, imagine if you had two people that were like, you're both at the counter.
yeah, right. Both of them.
Yeah. You
You're like,
can't
"Yo, you
have
too."
two people that go to the counter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, if both of us are like, we gotta go now, and she's hammered. Like, no, you can't. You gotta have somebody to be like. But yeah, that's how kind of we are, and I'm a little more free with money. She's like, well, did we need to do that? And I'm like, yes, we did. Like that's the way I have to. But so we kind of. But then I also rubbed off on her a little bit, where she's like, you know what? I will. You're right. Like let's do that. She's so. And then sometimes her responsibility comes onto me too.
Yeah.
So you need that.
That's perfect.
You need it. You
For
need it.
sure.
Yeah. You can't have two overly responsible. You can't have two, lunatics.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny. We always call my best friend. Do you know Audrey Stewart?
That name sounds familiar.
She's doing pretty well. She's out here. She's an LA comic, but we always make fun. We always call my boyfriend Dad because he'll just say like such dad lines
That's
to
great.
us, like you guys need your jacket or you're wearing those shoes or like just things like that. So
That's great.
Like, yeah, it's good. It's a good mix.
That's a good thing. That's definitely and that's like that's good parenting. Like that's all. Even though you're not the kids.
He's a good parent to me.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
wait, ever since that flight, you've been fine?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it just got to the point where, like, as my career was moving, I just had no choice. And then what I did, and I would suggest this to anybody, whenever you're really afraid of something, that just learn about it. So
Yeah.
I read everything. I learned everything. I learned about the engines. I listened to pilots talk. I learned about like the different. I mean, just psychotic, but I know So and now like I tell nervous flyers because like I was. Oh, this is fucking hilarious. I'm sitting next to this Italian woman like last week because I was in Arizona. I'm sitting next to this Italian woman and she's like, she's from Long Island. She's probably like, I would say like mid to late 50s.
Okay,
right?
and she was super nervous.
And her girlfriend was over past, across the aisle and she closest to her, but on the other side. And she's just like, and her friend was fine. Her friend's like, and I go, I do this all the time. She's like, oh yeah, I'm nervous. She's like, I had to take a Xanax, right? And I haven't taken a Xanax in forever, right? In forever. And but I was tired. I wanted to sleep. So we're talking. I'm like, you'll be fine. And I tell her how much I do it, and I kind of just give her the stats on it. It is what it is. God forbid, but it is what it is, right? So she feels good. And then I just go, hey, you have another Xanax? You think? And she was like, yeah, oh, sure. So she gives me a Xanax. And then she was out cold, and she gave me her lasagna. So she gave me her lasagna.
Before she passed out.
Yeah, so I got this stranger gave me a Xanax and her lasagna. And I told my wife, and my wife goes, can you not take drugs from strangers? Can you not take a pill from a stranger? I go, no, but she's older, and she's Italian, and she gave me her lasagna.
How much more do you need to know?
Yeah, like
she's safe.
It's all good. And she was just like, but now that I sit with people that I'll see people really nervous, and I just tell them, look, man, I do this all the time. I was in your shoes, so it's what it is. But now I'm like, it's always.
You have to.
It's always. And I have to. So it got to the point where I learned everything about it, and then I just got comfortable doing it. And now I kind of like it. I kind of like it. It's cool.
The one thing I like about flying is that it gives me, well, sometimes because I bring my laptop and I do write and like edit and stuff on the plane.
Yeah.
But when I can tell myself to chill for a second,
yeah,
watching a movie or binging a show on the plane's the best because you're like, there's nothing else to do. You're allowed to do this right now.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. That's actually really good. I was right. I'm trying to figure out this bit because there's like, I'm doing this whole thing in my new special about pilots because they're getting younger and stuff. But there was like, did you see that commercial with a gay pilot?
Is it the Virgin Airlines? I've only seen the Virgin Airlines commercials, which they're all gay.
No, I didn't see that.
But they're the flight attendants.
Oh no, this was like this dude at the end of this commercial, and I don't mind if my pilot's gay, but this is what was weird. In the commercial, he was just like, "There's a shortage of pilots. That's where we come in." And then I'm thinking, like, have you seen like a gay dude in like a haunted house or like on a prank show? Because they don't handle it well.
As not working. Why was I picturing them as a worker?
No,
as a guest.
Yeah.
There's big freak out.
It's a huge freak out.
It's funny.
Yeah, they're like, I can't, like, so I'm like, dude, I don't want them to be up there. if they're up to like, I can't with this turbulence. I just can't. Enough. I can't. It's like, no, I can't have that. I had this guy knock on my door. And it was this African-American gay, flamboyantly. And he just knocks on my door, and he just goes, hey, how you doing? He's like, I'm just knocking on the neighbors' doors asking for advice on life. That's what he said.
What?
Yeah.
Your house?
Yeah. Just at my house.
What?
He just knocked on the door. He goes, oh, how you doing? Blah, blah. He's like, what's your name? I was like, my name's Paul. He's like, hi, Mr. Paul. He kept calling me Mr. Paul. And he goes, hi, Mr. Paul, this and that. And he's just like, I'm looking for advice. I asked your neighbor, Colleen. She gave me some advice.
No way.
I said 100%. Yeah, she goes, she gave me some advice. I was just wondering what advice you would give me. And I was like, man, keep going. Like, I didn't know what to say. And then, rest their souls, we have a dog now. His name is Lloyd. He's the best. But we had 2 cats, and they were with me and my wife since we were 26 years old.
Oh wow!
So one was 16 years and a few months, and the other one was 18 and a half. And they were gigantic. They were beautiful, gigantic cats. And people that didn't like cats, like, I've never seen cats act like dogs like this. Like, I swear to God, Mandy, I'd call them. I'd be like, yo, Stanley, Tom. And they'd come like a dog. It was
That's
nuts.
so cool.
It was nuts. It was cool. They were great. And, I didn't realize that, like, a lot of black people are scared of cats. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, well, that's like I didn't realize, but that's like, I don't know if it's a stereotype, but people like, yeah. And my big cat, the big boy, Thomas, walked by, and this guy just goes, ooh, Mr. Paul, you got lions up in here. You got lions up in here, Mr. Paul. And he freaked the fuck out. So I just pictured that pilot.
Yeah.
I pictured him as a pilot, and I'm like, fuck that.
I just picture them like on the chair, like standing on the
do
pilot
something
chair.
like hitting the co-pilot. What do I didn't sign up for this.
Oh my God. Yeah. That would not. I wouldn't want that.
No, I wouldn't want that either. I want some. Yeah. No, you want somebody experienced.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That's good.
So I'm just because it's funny because now my new special's done.
Oh, nice.
So now it's like there's a lot of different options and exciting things. So now I'm at this kind of back at the fun, scary part where, like, I really don't have anything. So I just have to kind of stand there in the pocket and deal with what I'm doing, which is a good thing. It's a good exercise. But it happens after you drop something. So
I couldn't imagine.
It's wild.
Like, all my material, which is probably the scariest,
crazy.
is like after your first special.
Yeah.
Because then it's like the first time you get that shock.
That's 100% true. You nailed it. Like, it was an album. It was my first album called Night at the Stand. And when it was done, I was just like, all right, well, I got to go out there. And there was like a three-month thing where you just like, you feel like you have writer's block. Then when the Comedy Central hour hit in 2018, and I went through it again, and a lot of comedians came to the taping. And it went great. And then now when I'm in the local clubs, they came in to watch, and I had nothing. So it's like you have to stand there and you just have to do it. So then the Netflix one came out, and now I'm kind of, then I built, I built a new hour after the Netflix, and now that's in the can, and now I'm back to that feeling again. The good thing is I've been through it 3 times, so I know. But yeah, like the other night I was at the Stand. And I'm just standing up there, and I'm just like going through my, and I'm like, look, that's what makes the better comics.
For
you
sure.
You got the better comics got to deal with that and get rid of the security blanket because it's not, and you just deal. It sucks because what sucks is people are leaving, going like, man, like he's funnier than that.
Yeah.
And that hurts me. I mean, I'll still give some things. What you have to do is before the hour comes out, you could still give some things for that and then recycle them out. But that's the thing,
Just a little bit like the overlap.
Yeah. You get rid of it. You like kind of get that out, and the new one comes in. So that's where I'm at right now. But it is exciting and fun, and I think I have 2 new pieces that I think can be really, really cool. The other night I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it is so fun though when you do, like, because you want it so bad, like a new one, and then when you get it and like the first time you say, like, okay, this has legs, we can go.
Yeah. I used to travel around and wow, think about this now, it's crazy, but yeah. So when I would feature for people, I remember when I featured for Bill. I haven't opened for Bill Burr in about 7 years. And he was in Arizona, and he was playing golf, and he goes, hey, come play golf and then just jump on the show. And him and his opener were already there, and I came through. I wanted to play golf. He's like, yeah, just jump on the show as like a special guest, do like 10 minutes. I was like, all right, cool. And it's like 4,800 people. It's beautiful theater. And I saw something at the airport. I just saw something at the airport. It was this person transitioning. And, you know, something went off in my head with a joke. And I'm going, oh, man, that's a different angle. Let me do it. So, like, I was just up there in front of, like, 4,800 people. And, like, him and all of them that knew me, the opener, they're just watching me. And, like, I got off stage, and it's like, I never did it before, but I just had to do it and try it. And the first time, it did okay. But then the next night, I jumped on again, and I did 10 minutes, and it really started to click. And then I went to the stand, and now it's, like, 3 times old, and I'm starting to get it. And then that's when it gets exciting.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, I'm going to build on this.
Do you like ever sit down and write anything out, or do you do everything like mostly writing on stage?
No, like I'll think of the idea. I'll think of the idea and then I'll jot it down, but I won't have every single thing I say on it. But then I'll go up, and when I'm up, I'll do it, and wherever it goes, and I'll record. One thing that I do, and I don't listen to everything, but I try to record everything, because if something happens, then I want to just see like a line that I said or something that I said in it. So but I won't write it out word for word what I'm doing, but it'll be like the thought. You know, like I saw this dude transitioning, and I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, dude transitioning, but like it wasn't done. So then I was like, oh, okay. And then I just wrote that down, and then I'm up there, and then I'm just talking about it, kind of writing it on stage in a way, but you got to listen back.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean?
I record everything. Some of my friends, which one of them, he told me to tell you hi, Chappelle. Lacey.
Oh, I love him, yeah.
I told him you're coming on, and he goes, Paul is amazing.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's like, he's amazing.
Oh, he's a good dude, man. He was a doorman. He was a doorman in Arizona. And and he was doing spots at Stand Up Live when I was there featuring one time. And then to see him, and then I came out here, I think he was doing like Fighter and the Kid or something like that. And and I love seeing a guy like that just move up and keep going, because he's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude. He's a funny dude, and he's putting the work in. So it's cool. I'm like, nothing's better than when good people work hard and keep moving up.
Totally.
That's what I love to see.
Me too. I'm very happy to have him as a friend. He's the best.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
But he's got a great memory, so he doesn't record his shit, but he remembers everything. My friend Audrey doesn't either. I'm like, you guys, I wouldn't remember shit. I don't know how. I have to record everything, even like if I rant in my car, because usually that's when I say like sometimes my favorite things, but in the car.
Okay.
But if I don't record it, I'm like, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I can remember. My memory is, even since I was little, my parents would tell me my memory is really, really good, but it's not so much not remembering. It's the order in which I said it, or it's the word, like, because sometimes a word, and I'm starting to realize this the more experience that I've gotten as a comedian, is that a word in the wrong place is an absolute game changer for the joke. And I remember there's a story of Rodney Dangerfield back in the day, rest his soul. Rodney Dangerfield got off stage after murdering, and somebody saw him mad, and they're like, what's wrong? Dude, you just killed. And he's like, I shouldn't have said the in that thing. And it sounds crazy, but I get that, because you can get the pop, or you can get the right laugh by not doing that. And so that's why, because I was doing this abortion joke in my special, and I had to listen back to it to make sure that the order in which I said what I needed to say was in the right order after the punch, or else it wouldn't really be as effective.
It's the craziest thing. I used to think like jokes just strangely, weirdly stopped working. Like I thought that was a normal thing that happened. Like, oh, this joke's not working anymore. I'll pocket it and maybe try it again later. Then I feel like recently I've realized, like, no, it's you moved it in the set, you said it differently. Like the joke's not dead, you just fucked it up.
Oh, that, and also though, if the joke is out of your heart. Yeah. If the joke is not, if you like, that's the other reason why I'm in a place now where I want to keep getting new material, because the special's in the can. And I'm still adding to it. Like there's still things I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have said that in the special. But like when you tell a joke that they know, like they could feel it. It's like a dog.
For sure.
Yeah. So if you're like half-hearted with it, or even if you're lying to yourself with it, it's not going to come across as like when you're excited about it.
Yeah.
That's a total. When you're excited about a bit, it's a whole different game. You know.
And you feel it. Yeah. Last weekend I just did DC Comedy Loft.
Okay.
And like. Now I'm to the point where I used to be like so scared to try new things, but like you were saying, you did it in front of 4,800 people.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like sometimes do you ever run late just for like the thrill of like?
What, you mean the light?
No. Like run late somewhere. Like,
oh, dude. I won't know, but oh my God, the most stressful thing that happened to me in this business, and it happened overseas, where last year my agent, I'm a Giants fan, right? So
thank you
the Giants
for beating the Patriots. I'm a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
So you saved us.
Yeah, twice. So the Giants were playing in London, and they're playing the Packers in London. So I hit up my agent, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about going out there with my family to see the Giants. Can we get a gig? And he's like, oh, as a matter of fact, we can. He's like, I could get you this space that like American comedians usually go to the first time there. It's called 21 Soho. It's a few hundred people. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we sold it out really quickly. We added a show, which was great. And I go out there with my family. And the first night I was there, NFL Network wanted me. The NFL Network was out there, and I used to go on this show, Good Morning Football. So they were like, hey, do you want to jump on this show? So the first night we're in London, I take my family to the set at night, and I'm talking about the Giants. I'm talking about how the Giants are going to win. And then like 2 days later, we had the show. And I get in my bed in my hotel room with my kids are jumping on the other bed. My wife's in there. And I just lay down, and I go, all right, we got to leave in like 45 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I lay down. It's like 6:45, okay? And I'm just get under the covers, and I'm like, I said to my wife, I'm like, Stace, just wake me up in like 25, 30 minutes. I just need to close my eyes, And right before I go to sleep, I look at my phone, and I see a picture of the stage with everybody crowded in it going, can't wait to see Paul Virzi.
Like they're there.
They're there. And I'm in, and all of a sudden I look at the email, and one email said the show was at 8:00, but their thing, my agency said 8. But it was 7.
Damn.
So I'm 15 minutes away, and I'm in my. So it's pouring outside. It's pouring. I fucking flew to London. I flew my family and I'm fucking putting on. The kids are like, what's that going on with that? They're panicking. My wife crying. What the fuck? It's just like the airplane. It's like, this is only you. Only fuck with you. I'm like, the email said 8. We get in this. We're begging this guy like, hey, you just got to take us. It is bumper to bumper in a roundabout in a pouring thing. The venue's calling me. It's 7 on the dot. They need to start, and there's no openers. And so you only get allotted an hour.
What the hell?
You only get an hour. When you headline in London, you get an hour.
Okay.
So now it's like 7:05. I go, listen, I'm in traffic. He's telling me like 15 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it is the worst thing that you could do. We pull up in a pouring storm. It's crazy. They go, you're gonna have to go right up. I go, just hand me a water and bring me up. So my family gets out of the car. It's about 7:18.
Okay.
7:18, 18 minutes. And I said, just take care of my family. So I take them to this green room. I get a water. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Virzi. I go up, and it was nice, all my fans. And I said, where's the person that took a picture? I said, where's the person that took a picture of the stage? And he's like, me. And I said, thank you, because I thought it was 8:00. And listen to this. It was 5 of them flew from Germany. I would have missed it. I'd have missed it.
Oh, my God.
Mandy, if I didn't look at my phone before I went down for a 20-minute, 30-minute nap, I flew to London for nothing pretty much. We still would have saw the Giants, but like I would have missed the show.
And
those people, and it was sold out, and they had to add on because of an overflow of the other show. And then afterwards, I did a meet and greet, and it was very humbling and amazing, and it was an honor. But there was a line to meet me, and these people came up and they go, we had to see you. 5 of us flew from Germany. And I was like, dude, you're the reason this show happened, because because the agency said 8:00.
Damn.
So that was I don't like to run late on purpose.
Never for a show. Not for a show.
Right. Yeah. But for other things,
Some things. That's wild,
dude,
though.
I'm like getting anxiety talking about it.
I'm sure that is the worst feeling ever. Okay, I think it was a bad example of what I was trying to say.
Well, I'm sorry. I might have jumped in with the
no,
story because when you were
such a
like,
good
did you ever? You were just like, did you ever like? I thought you were like, you ever just want to like kind of be late and just get on stage?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, my stupid thing that I was gonna say is just dumb. Was like, I'm to the point finally to where like I'll be mid set and like I will just say something if it's not ready because I know like I could just
of course.
sandwich it.
No, of course.
But that took forever to get to.
That's what that is that's the better comedian and you're trying to come out. That's really what it is. It's like when you're up there saying something. I'll never forget somebody legendary, iconic people said this, and it's true. It's like when you're on stage, the difference between like a black belt of this, that's what they like a Jedi of this, or somebody that's still learning, and it's fine whatever level because you'll get there if you will put the work in. But like if you ever go into a bit, right, and you don't wanna, you're just like, ugh. You ever go into a bit, you're like, fucking this,
Yeah.
right? You're just like, what am I really? Like you're talking to yourself because we could talk to her, and you're just like, you stupid dickhead. You're just doing this because you want the laugh. You want the laugh, and you know there's gonna be a laugh, but you know it sucks. It's stupid, and then you're in your mind, you're like, I really wish I was talking about this.
Yes.
The better comedian just goes to talk about that. The just being like, you know what, I'm not gonna get that laugh. I know because I know that laugh is coming, but this is what I really want to talk about. And it takes a long time to get there, but you know, when you just do it, because you're gonna feel better going home, even if it didn't do well, than you would have just getting the laugh of something that is just tried and true.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Like I've left the shows and told Matt, I'm like, this, like, I feel like I had purpose, like, this week. And, like, I made work. Like, I was working on something. I said something I wanted to say. Like, I was like, I could care less if the audience sucked or if I did bad. That was so fun.
Yeah, because when you could be the funny you and what you really think and make them get on board with that is different than just making them laugh. Because anybody can make them laugh, but you're making them, like, really, like, like Joey Diaz said something. It was like, why are they coming to see you? Why are they coming to see you? And against anybody else? Why? What about your show? And that's when you think about that, it's like the uniqueness of what you do, you know. But anyway, I'm sure your crowd or your fans don't want to keep hearing about comedy. So.
No, it's a stand-up podcast. We've got stand-up listeners.
Okay, cool.
I hope, or they like it. I'm sure because we talk about stand-up a lot.
Okay.
So we talked about so many stories already. Did you have any embarrassing stories you're working on or like moments in your life that you turned into a joke?
No, one thing that I did, I was thinking about that because after you said it, I'm like, what was embarrassing? Like really embarrassing. And does it have to be relationship or just life?
Anything, yeah, life.
Yeah, so one thing when you asked me that, it made me think, and I was like, what was really kind of like embarrassing? And then all of a sudden it hit me. I was younger and I was mortified. But when I was a little kid, one thing, it's really weird, but I would love to grab and kiss my mother's this part of her arm.
Really?
Yeah. like the back.
I know the most insecure part of every female.
That. So I would like love to just like, and my mom was like, you know, beautiful, but I would just grab her here, and I would just love to grab it and kiss it.
It's so weird and cute.
It's so weird, right? And it was like, because it was like soft, and I was like, and I would just grab her arm, and I would just kiss her arm, and it was like this thing. And we were in like a Hallmark store, like to buy cards, like a stationer's or whatever. And you know, I run up, you know, and I grab the arm and I kiss, and it wasn't my mother. She had the same hair. My mom used to dye her hair, so it had like this reddish tint to it. And this woman had the exact color, and she had sunglasses on. And I just run down and I grab this woman and I start kissing, and she just goes, "Oh, what?" And I go, "Oh my God, Mom, where's my mom?" And like, and my mom was like, "I'm sorry, he loves to," because like I would grab my mom's friends' arms there. I know it's the weirdest. It's so weird.
So random.
And I would love to kiss it. And I remember I was like, that was like the first time my heart stopped because it was just another woman. It was just another, and it was like a security thing. So it's like. So I guess that was like the first time that I ever was like, oh, like really embarrassed.
Felt that feeling.
Yeah. You know, of super, because it's such a weird thing to do.
Especially especially to a stranger.
Like, just, yeah, like, could you imagine if, like, a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old just grabbed your arm and kissed you in the thing and it wasn't his mom? And you'd be like,
I'm never insecure about my arms again, though. I'm like, okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, I don't really have, my wife has one.
An embarrassing moment?
Oh, dude, but she got lucky because nobody saw it. We were in New York City. We were in New York City, and we went to this frozen yogurt place. And we love to go to this frozen yogurt place. We went to a dinner, and where we get our frozen yogurt cups, and we're walking down the street in Manhattan. I was living with my brother on 63rd and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. And she's walking, and she trips, falls so hard
Oh, no.
on the concrete, holds her, I don't know how she saved the yogurt. And, like, she, like, hit the ground, and I felt so bad. Like, that's when I really knew I cared, because I felt so bad instead of, like, laughing. Yeah. And she got up. I helped her up, and I looked around. I mean, this was a spill. This wasn't a this was like
She ate shit.
This was a yeah. Yeah, I guess that's probably the best way to say it. And and I remember I helped her up, and she held onto the thing, and I looked around, and the streets of Manhattan are empty. I was like, nobody. And I'm like, if that was me, it would have been fucking Central Park. Like, it would have just been a monumental thing. And with her, like, nobody saw it. And I remember feeling that feeling. But I'm trying to think of, like, do you have really bad ones?
Well, my, like, most embarrassing thing, my scarring thing I talk about the most is, like, when I started drinking in college, I figured out that when I drink too much, I'll pee the bed.
Until what age?
I kind of stopped. My therapist thinks that going to therapy helped stop it. I don't know how.
So this happened, like, into your adulthood.
This was college. Started in college.
You're like, this got fixed last week.
I was like, I pissed the bed yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't do it. I haven't done it in a minute. But yeah, all throughout college, like, so if I would sleep at a friend's house, if like a boyfriend, anyone.
Only booze.
Only booze. I mean, I pee a lot, but I don't pee myself. But, like, if I would drink and go to sleep, full piss.
Wow.
And nothing.
But, like, but if you had, like, an orange juice, a glass of water, and a soda.
Be fine.
You wouldn't piss the bed.
No.
But if it was alcohol, you would.
Yeah.
Wow. Did they think it was psychological? Is it a psychological thing?
That's what my therapist thought, like, a lot was going on in college. Like, maybe I was just, like, overwhelmed and alcohol, and I don't know. Then I went to the doctors, and I got diagnosed with an overactive bladder. Okay. So I do have, like, a small bladder.
Okay.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But oh my God. It doesn't matter how many times you could do it.
Yeah.
That is so embarrassing to tell somebody. Also, you're just ruined somebody's bed.
Yeah. It's like, like, how long into a relationship do you got to say that? Like, what date do you go, like, hey, you know?
Oh, well, I would get, like, embarrassed, too, like, on a first date, because I would be in the bathroom all the time, because we'd be at, like, a bar drinking. And I'm like, this guy thinks I have a Coke problem or something.
Right,
like, I'm just, like, the worst first date. Like, this is awful.
He's texting his friends, like, dude, this chick is a fucking drug addict. Yeah.
So that's probably, like, my most embarrassing thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's the good thing about that one is, like, if that's just, I guess being upfront about it early is just the best way, right? So just be like, look, dude, I pissed the bed because I used to pee the bed until I was 12.
Really?
12, yeah.
There's so many comedians. Sarah Silverman, Mark Norman.
12 was, like, when it stopped.
Okay.
And it was when I drank a lot. It was, like, obviously when I drank a lot of stuff. Like, I remember one time it happened, like watermelon at night and just, you know, and you didn't know to go. But, it was like 11, 12. But I think maybe it's a psychological thing, too. Yeah. I think because I had it rough, you know, some things happen and maybe that could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like, all the people you named were comedians were a little fucked up. You know, who knows, you know? Yeah,
there has to be something to it.
Right?
That's yeah.
Now I want to Google bedwetting.
Am I okay?
One time I was so blacked out, but I peed and puked.
Oh,
like
both
woke
ends.
myself. Yeah, and it was just really, I was just pissing, and I drank like could have, you know, yeah, yeah. You do. It's a regular thing with you.
I mean,
like how many? So like if you like, but not like if you have 2-3 beers.
No, and it's been a few years.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, it's been like 3 years.
Yeah.
Woo!
You're 41. You're like, dude, it's sad. Stopped when I was 37. It's nothing.
Yeah, but it would be. This is the weird thing. So if I blacked out, game over. But like sometimes I would wake up. I'd be like, "What the hell? Like I did not deserve this. It was a couple drinks.
Right, you didn't. Yeah. Like what?
Let me earn that at least.
Yeah. Let me black out and do something stupid.
Yeah, punish me then.
Yeah, right. That's right.
But yeah. Oh, and then in like my first apartment out here, I had like the laundry out. Well, the laundry's out everywhere, but that one's like downstairs past all these people.
Oh.
Just with my bed sheets and my coins. I'm like, you loser. You're a loser. Get it together.
That's great though. Like that, you could write a script about a woman that does that.
Oh.
You know, like that's a fucking awesome problem if you could make it funny.
Yeah,
right?
I've got a lot of material on it. But then sometimes I cut it shorter because I'm like, how long do these people want to hear about me pissing?
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? I would say maybe put like one great story in your first hour.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely would have to be a part of it. I have a lot of pee people that follow me.
No. Do you?
And there's these weird people on Reddit that now have added me, like this pee community. And they're like, she's one of us. I'm like, what am I? What am I?
You mean like the golden shower type shit?
It's something like that. I didn't look too into it. I did click it. And I was like,
what is it? Just people that are like into pee?
Yeah. I think people that like.
Such a funny demographic to have at your shows.
What's your audience?
I loved your set. Listen, dude, I piss at least.
I do. People will comment on stuff like, "When's the last time you peed?" I'm like, I'm not turning this guy on.
What? Wow.
Through my problems.
Oh yeah, because
like
it could be a fetish type thing.
Yeah. When's the last time you peed?
Yeah, that's
Ew.
that's a lot.
That is creepy.
Yeah. When's the last time you peed?
But it's the same guy. He asks it a lot. I wonder if he's listening. I'm sorry.
That is so funny to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another guy.
I just picture you at the end of a show. Oh, Mandy, I loved your show. Listen, when's the last time you pissed today? You pissed?
Do you write down the time? The time. When was it?
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, that's my hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one. But look, there's worse things you could do.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
You know, I think a hard one would be what is it called? The people that fall asleep.
Oh, epilepsy?
No, is it epilepsy? No, no. Oh my God.
Not narcissist.
No,
epileptic.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, but that would be weird, dude.
That would be really bad, especially for a stand-up.
I don't know if I could as much as I love my wife. I don't know. I don't know if that's a game changer on a date.
Yeah. If
the chick just fucking was out, and then you're like, how long do I wait? Like, what do I like? You know, like, what do you do if she's just like fucking sleeping at a steakhouse?
I did once do something that was bad like that.
What's that?
I don't usually smoke or take edibles, and I was on a first date 7 years ago. Oh no, it was a second date a long time ago, and he gave me an edible. I should have just said no.
Yeah.
So I took it so high.
Second date, wow.
Yeah. And then we went to kiss, and when you fall asleep and you nod off,
yeah.
I nodded off while kissing him.
Oh, wow.
That was the last date.
Yeah, well, his fault. He shouldn't have given you that.
He should have given me that. That's not a fun date.
No. And you were being nice, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And then, no, you got to be careful with the edibles.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a big, no. That's great.
Is there any other jokes, new ones that you're talking on, trying to figure out?
Yeah, I have a couple with this, the transition one. The gay pilots, maybe a little bit. It's kind of like I'm at those. It's this weird thing where I found a bunch of notes from a phone. So when you had to change your phone, they couldn't take all of my notes.
Really?
And so I had to take a picture
Holy
with the new
shit.
phone of the phone. I took 30 something pictures because I didn't want to lose the thought. And I went back to them, and these are all things that are in none of my hours.
That's cool.
And some of them are I'm like, oh my God. And I remember Dave Chappelle said something. He was he said something, and it just sparked something. I'm like, oh man, I think I do have that. But he made sense. He's like, when you get to be a better, more experienced comedian, go back to your old notebooks. or like go back to old premises because now you probably are better. You kind of figure out how to do it. So I just had like all of these things written, and I saw some things. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, and I could go here with that now. So hopefully that could be like a foundation or help me with the foundation of the new hour.
For sure. That's exciting too.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can do that. There was one on like, there was one on catcalling. There was one on like how women gossip about something bad that happened versus how men do. And I'm like, oh, I can make yeah, because like women are so much more detailed with it than the dude. So like that, and I'm like, oh, I have all these things. So yeah, hopefully, I'm hopefully by like late summer, I can really start having a foundation of the new stuff.
Yeah.
It's scary. I just want to give people what I know I can give them. So
it's part of it. I heard like Louis C.K. talking about like just going up and bombing, working on new stuff, like or just like working it out. And then, have you seen the comedian with Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, a while ago, but yep.
They took it off of Netflix. That was something I like to rewatch because it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
But they just took it off.
There's a lot of truth in that. There was a lot of truth in that. And one thing that should teach anybody is like, he was Jerry Seinfeld when he did that, but it didn't matter after 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, for all the people who are freaking out with like the social media people getting shows.
That's the best thing about stand-up is it's just a one art form that just doesn't lie. It just doesn't lie.
You can't. You have nothing to hide behind.
I was just on literally before I got here. I was on the bonfire with Big J, Bobby Kelly, and John Lovitz. And John Lovitz was talking about when he started stand-up. He went on stage and everyone went nuts because they knew who he was. And he said by the end of the show, when he said, "All right, everybody," he said it was literally one clap.
Oh, wow.
Because because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whether they know you or not, it's it's Chris Rock did that, and he did that movie Down to Earth. And he's like, the one thing I love about stand-up, he's like, it's you and the microphone. It's like, can you bring it? That's it. That's it. And it really is the truth.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter. The most famous person could go, everybody could go nuts, lose their shit. And then after like, yeah, I remember, I don't want to say names on a podcast, but I remember one time I was really, really young in stand-up, like first 3 years, maybe first 2 years. And I was just hanging out. I might have been on a date at the Comedy Cellar. I was just like, because I was just like, I do this. And the person I was dating was like, oh, like, I was like, we can go to a show. I was like, even though I do it, we could go to a show. And we went. And, a big time name came in and came on stage and everyone went nuts. And it was not great. And you could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel it. You're like, okay, I get it, but like that's the best of it.
Yeah.
But when you're fun, but the opposite is the beauty of it.
I love that. It's like I am having so many people recently that are really like hurt or not hurt, like very, what's the right word? Defeated by like social media people selling out and doing better than them. But I always say like, who don't care about that at all.
Do you know, I don't, so many people have said to me, they're like, you're, and again, I don't say this, it's uncomfortable to say this I don't want to pat myself on the back or be arrogant at all. But like so many people are like, man, you are like so much better than your following. Do you care? And I'm like, I'm not built to do things that I don't want to do or that I'm not comfortable doing. And I'm not going to go on a podcast and make a fool of myself. I'm not going to go and do things just for the sake of followers. It's just not, I'm just, my opener, Tyler Horvath, he's a great dude. And he goes, yeah, you can't help it. And I can't. Like, I just have to. But I knew this. I remember years ago, Bill Burr said it to me the other day. He was just like, dude, a guy like you, he's like, it's just a long road. It's just a tried and true road. And it's just, and kind of in a way, things like that happen to him. Guys like Jim Norton, all these guys that are just monsters. It's just like, it's not the, I'm not an industry darling at all. I'm not somebody that it's like, oh yeah, shows and I'm just not. I'm just like I guess I'm a guy's guy. I'm a family man. I'm a dad. I'm somebody that just says what I want to say. So yeah, I don't. But getting upset about anybody that is doing that, you can't. Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. Somebody that's selling out arenas, and if I see somebody that am I better than some people that are in arenas? Yeah, but no, and I'm not saying that to be, but it's like I'm not going to knock that.
Yeah,
because they did something to sell the tickets and they're doing it. I know what I've done, what I can do, but comparing yourself to somebody else, it's just not, if somebody goes on TikTok and they do a fucking dance and they do whatever and they sell out a place, first of all, they're going to have to sustain that.
Yeah, for sure. And those people have to come back, to come back.
That could be a one and done if you don't really work on it. So, no, I think just letting the work speak for itself and just getting better and not worried about what other people do, because that's just wasn't, and this is my opinion, that's just not your path. If your path is going to be what your path is, what's going to happen to you in your career is going to happen to you in your career. The work that you put in, all the things that you do, is going to happen for you the way it's supposed to happen for you. And and that's the thing, when Jay-Z says something, and it's so true, man, and every time I see it, I post it on my Instagram all the time, but he's like, everybody's scared, everybody's insecure, everybody's fucked up, and everybody's just trying to get there. I know some of the biggest comedians in the world. I was at this, you can see, I was at this Netflix is a joke fucking golf thing, and everybody, people are at the top, people in the middle, everybody just has this fucking insecurity. Everybody has it. And people can act like they don't. Now, sometimes when people act like assholes, they're just projecting because they're afraid.
For sure.
They're afraid. So and not trying to sound like philosophical or anything, but I learned that, because there were times I got mad, I got upset. I was like, I remember one time I saw somebody on TV. I called my manager during this motherfucker. Dude, I called my manager during this motherfucker's set on TV. This dude was on TV, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, who the fuck? And then I realized, I'm like, but that's his shit.
Yeah.
That's his journey. It doesn't matter how I feel, how I compare to that person. It doesn't matter. And I'll say this: do you have young comics listening to this?
Yeah, I'm sure. People ask for advice.
So, everything that you want to get, you're going to get at the time you're supposed to get it. Everything. There were dragons that I needed to slay. One was Montreal at the time. And I'm going to say something after I say this, and you're going to be like, wow, but it's true. One was Montreal, one was Comedy Central, and one was the Comedy Cellar in New York. Okay, it would be like somebody out here trying to get into the Comedy Store, somebody, you do that. And the real truth is, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. If the person at the Comedy Store doesn't pass you, if the person at the Comedy Cellar, if the person at the stand, if the person, any comedian listening to this, you think that matters, it doesn't. There's going to be another booker. Think about how crazy that is, that you want to get the approval of somebody that doesn't live in your shoes. Somebody that's never done stand-up, pretty much. Some of them have, but they're either a failed one or they never did it. And you're trying to get that person, that person's going to devastate you. So many things, and I did all three of those things, and I realized afterwards, it's like it doesn't matter. What matters is getting up, getting better, and all of the things that you want are going to happen by default anyway.
Yeah.
See that, but I think there's two types of people. Okay, I think there's people that want to be rich and famous, and they do it at all costs, and then I think that there's people that want to be dope at what they do and get rich and fame from being great at what they do, having it be a byproduct of what they do. And I'm the latter, and I'm sure you're the latter. And so that's how I look. There are some people that it's like, I don't give a fuck. I talked to a comedian, and she was making me laugh. She was like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I'll lie. I'll do whatever. And she was just, and listen, God bless her for being honest, but she was like, I'll lie. I'll do whatever. I just need to get and there are people like that. There are comedians that steal other comedians' stories and go on podcasts. There are comedians that do some shady shit just to, and I just can't do that.
No.
It's just not, so, yeah, it's one of those things where what you think is important is not like it's what really made me understand it was the pandemic. When the pandemic happened and I realized I was like, granted I had not everybody's at the same level, and I understand that, but I'm leaving my dinner table on a Tuesday. I'm leaving my wife and my kids on a Tuesday to go do a fucking $30-$40 spot in the city. After the pandemic. No, but during the pandemic, I had I realized, I was like, because comedians, is it cool to talk about comedy on all the time?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know some people oh, another podcast. I didn't want to.
No, it's for comedy people.
Yeah, I know. We're on I'm sorry. We're on a comedy podcast. It's okay if I talk about what the show's about. But I realize that people are on a hamster wheel. And it's like, what's the fucking goal? That's what I'm talking. Like when somebody gets upset, and I think this is a good way to look at it. It's like if somebody gets upset or somebody gets down about what's going on or what other people are doing, it's like, well, what's your goal? Because you're running around doing spots. That doesn't. What is that? What's the goal for that?
Yes, I've had this conversation.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the goal? Is your goal to now? If your goal is to run, do spots, pay rent, and live like that forever, great. Then you're doing it. Then you're doing it.
You made it.
You made it. You made it. You're paying your rent. You're running around town doing spots. God bless you. Great. But that's not. It's like do an hour. Do you want to like act? Do you want to create a show? Do you want to keep getting better at stand up and putting out hours? And when I realized what I wanted to do, I was just like, oh man, yeah. So, but I did. Granted, now if you're a younger comedian, you have to do that.
Yeah, you have to, once you get there, then next chapter.
Right. So for me to say, I don't want anybody young going, oh, well, you have to go out on the Tuesday and go do it. I'm saying I got to a point where I realized, like, okay, let me work the same hard, but it's going to be smarter.
Yes.
And I'm going to be with my kids, and I'm going to realize that because I'm not going to have my kids ever be like my dad wasn't here. I'm going to have my kids go, my dad did what he had to do with his job, but he was always here as a dad, and you can get better that way. There's this misconception that like you can. And all those things don't matter. And everything that you dream of that you think is going to be like, oh my God, I got past and this and that, that's great, but it's not, it doesn't define you. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. I was going through like a whole like usually I'm very happy and upbeat and positive, but sometimes you have your lulls. Like for right now, I've been pretty positive about it, but like I didn't get anything for Netflix as a joke, and everyone's in town having a blast. I'm like year 11 into stand up, and like I'm like don't just be patient, keep working. Your time will be your time.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are loving LA. No, but for real, I'm just like it's fine. Everything does happen when it should.
Yeah.
But like I was in this like weird of like I wanted JFL so bad 2 years ago. Then I was like, this is the year.
Yeah.
JFL's gone now if you guys don't know.
Yeah.
So that was really
But what
funny.
does that tell you? Think about that, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, it's like,
Now it's gone.
Now, yeah, right. And somebody, you're trying to get in front of this booker, and all of a sudden that booker gets hit by a bus. Guess what? Oh, now I got to fucking, I don't know why I put him in that situation.
He's not a comedian.
Yeah. But now there's another one that comes in. Oh, now,
Yeah.
So it's Joe Smith. Now Joe Smith gets hit by a bus. Now I got to go impress the next guy. And it's like, what does that doesn't even make sense. And like, I remember for me, it was like, nobody really, like people were talking in the city that I was funny and doing well, but nobody was giving me it. I would say like year like 13, 14 was when like I started to like, I got Montreal, but I got Montreal in the craziest way you could get Montreal. I got Montreal and I got the Comedy Cellar in the craziest way. I have two of the craziest stories how I did it because it was like I manifested it. Like it was, so like the JFL thing was, I auditioned 3 years in a row. The first year, I probably wasn't ready. I did like, okay, and they're like, he's not ready. We'll see him the next year. Then the next year, I fucking murdered the first one. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to Montreal. But then the final callback, I had a good set. But I had killed so hard on the first one that I gave them an excuse to go, yeah, he had an all right set on the callback, but look what he did on the first one. We needed to because so they had that excuse. So then the third year, I go in and I knew that I had no choice but to I had to rip the room apart but every time I was on stage. And one of them, I was sick. I had like the flu.
No.
And I went 10 out of 10 too. I went last out of 10. And I remember it was on it, like I had some, Pete Davidson was on it and a bunch of people were on it. And I went up 10th and I had the set of the night sick. And then I went to the callback, and I did really good on the first one. And then the callback, I was sick. I went 10th out of 10. I had the best one. I had the best spot. They said it too. And after they said it, my managers called me in to the office, and I could tell something's wrong with them, And I was like, and I knew, and I'm like, all right, what happened? And they were like, look, they said you deserve to go. They said that you were the best one. Unfortunately, they kind of through just political stuff. They kind of need to get this person in. They kind of need to do this. And they're just giving me like, they want you to do JFL Toronto. They want you to do JFL Chicago. And they said you definitely will eventually get to Montreal. And it was like this really nice no.
Yeah.
The nicest no you can get. And I remember being really hurt because I wasn't hurt that I wasn't going. I was hurt that I did the job to go.
Yeah, they wanted you.
And I knew that I did the job to go. So I earned it and I didn't get it. And that's what hurt. Because if I didn't, I'd be like, I didn't go. I don't have to go if I didn't earn it. Because I don't want to go if I don't earn it. I never had anybody recommend me, nothing. I just got in front of, my managers got me in front and all this shit. And I remember being really hurt. And then like a month before the thing, I started to get text messages, and they were like, hey, JFL's asking about your availability. JFL's asking all these questions.
Oh,
and
shit.
I didn't understand what JFL was on the text.
Oh.
And then I'm like, what the fuck is I didn't even know. And then I'm like, wait, Montreal? Like, question mark. And they were like, yeah. And then they were like, pack your bags, fucker, you're going. Because they said, it's an embarrassment for him not to go because of what he did. And then I went and I did like, at the time they were like, we don't know where to put him because he's not really a new face. But he's also I was all over. I did like so many shows. I did like 14 shows in 10 days at Montreal. I did all these different big shows, like a big showcase show with all the, and then I did some other ones where I would just open for people and run around, do showcase spots. And then the same thing with The Cellar was that I was like, when I was a younger comic, I auditioned for The Cellar. I did great. You have to get referred by people.
Same with the store.
Yeah, you got to get referred by people. So I got referred and I did great. And she said something like, you were really funny, but you were talking about my daughter was just born. So she's like, you were talking about your family a lot. I want to see you on like an earlier show because I put you on late. And all these things that didn't make sense because I killed. And then she was like, we'll try again. We'll do it again. And I'm like, okay. So I hit her up. And she's like, oh, yes, we'll do it again. And then never gave me a date and just got off the phone. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. Oh. So now I'm a regular everywhere else. And I go, I'm not going back to The Cellar until I'm they call me. I said that, and I said, I'm gonna kill all over New York City, and they're gonna fucking hear about me.
Yeah, let the word get out.
They're gonna hear about me, and I said, I'm not going there until they call me. And sure enough, I heard somebody said she walked up to the table at The Cellar. What's with this guy? Like, yo, this kid's funny. And then Bobby Kelly was like, yo, this kid's funny. And then sure enough, one day I came home from dinner, and my phone, and it was Esty from The Cellar, and she goes, hey, we're opening a club in Vegas. Some of the people want you to do it. Also, if you want to do our New York rooms, just give me your avails. And I gave my avail, and she just loaded me up with spots.
Holy shit!
And like and I remember Bill Burr going, dude, that is like never fucking happens. But it was like because I just knew, like when you know who you are, know who you are, and it's just corny, it's cliche, it's all that shit, but it's the truth, man.
Yeah,
it's the truth, and. So, but at the end of the day, does it think about that? Does it really matter? Yes, it matters to you. It matters in your heart. It matters. But in the real grand scheme of things, what matters is like, look at somebody like, Matt Rife. He, didn't have much going on, and then he just went viral all over TikTok, and now, is selling. So it's like, what does that tell you? That tells you it's kind of in your hands. Mm-hmm. You put out good quality shit, and I think when good things happen at the time it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. I'm still growing. Like I'll watch a set or I'll listen back to a set, but man, I gotta get so much better because I want to be great. So to be great, you look at it like I gotta get so much better. Yeah. Like that joke is great, but I'm better. Like I gotta do that. Because that's what it is. So I want that to be what gets me. And there are some people that are like, fuck that, I want to get there now and I'll do whatever I can. I just can't do it.
I'm right there with you.
I don't have it in me to do it.
Every year I I wouldn't get JFL. I'm like okay, but I'm like, oh, I feel so much better about me on stage now versus last year. Like every year feels like, I feel like the growth now, like I feel like pretty much, so the first chapter is getting the spots, like we were saying. And the next is like, once you're like, what's the goal? I feel like now it's like the growth is so much more when like you're not just doing the motions of like your spots and like that other thing. You're like, this is like the drive is so much bigger.
Yes, of course. Like the journey is so it's like cool. You look back and you're like, and you want to be in front of people when you're really good.
Yeah.
Like when you really like, you're like, let them see this. You want to do that instead of you being like, I hope they like it. Don't be like, I hope they like it. Be like, they're gonna fuck. This is something I want people to see. You know what I mean? That's how, I think that's the best way to do it. But we're in a business of mentally ill fucking people who lack something, need acceptance, want to be famous, and it is what it is. But I got the whole like being upset with somebody else. They're not upset, but like, why did that happen? Like that. The one thing I learned, and it's the truth, is like this business doesn't owe you anything.
For sure.
Doesn't owe you anything. Nothing. It's that you don't. And when you look at it like that, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say I forgot who it was, but it was like, it's show business. It's a business.
Yeah.
They're going to put on who's going to make the money.
Yep.
Like, it's nothing to do about you. You got to provide your end of the stick.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
That as well for like booking things. So I'm like, I can't take anything personal. I'm not going to sell out there.
Well, that's the thing. It's you can't like, and I used to, I'm Sicilian and Greek. So I took shit personal. I would be like, what? And then I realized, like, it's not personal. It's not against me. It's, and I was always up. I went up against the alternative comics because then they wanted alternative. I'm not alternative.
Yeah, neither am I. Those rooms would make me so insecure.
Yeah, I was like, because I was just more of like a mainstream, more, and they wanted this and then they wanted that. Then they wanted diversity. I don't fall into that. So all of these things, all of these boxes they needed to check, I didn't fall in. But it made me better.
Yeah.
Because think about getting something because of that.
You don't want that.
No.
I've had that conversation too. Cause like, I just feel like I don't have that like unique box like without talent. Like I don't have it. So I'm like, it is good though. Cause it does, like, you have to be good. There's nothing else but that.
True. It's the corniest thing, right? They say, but just be undeniable.
Yeah.
Because when you're undeniable, that's it.
I always say the Steve Martin quote, be so good they can't ignore you.
Yeah. And
which is exactly what you did.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. It's like it happened like that. And, it happened, longer than, but I didn't put out I didn't put out my first hour till I was 14 years in because I didn't want, and I still look back at it and I'm proud of it. Because,
great.
Yeah, if I talk to like a 6-year comics, like, my third album's coming out, I'm like, the third fucking album's coming out. Like, like, what'd you do? Each year you started, you put out an hour. Like, you don't want that. You want it to be good.
Oh yeah, I love hearing all of your stories though, because it is sometimes hard, like being in for a while and watching all my friends do so great. I'm proud of them, but like you really do. It is work to like just focus on the long run and like.
Of course.
The big picture.
The big picture, man. It's always going to be better later. And whenever you want to put something out, wait 3 months. Whenever you feel like you want to do your hour, add 3 months. And you're going to be like, I'm so glad I waited.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like whenever you're like, I'm doing it in April, just be like, I'm telling you, it works.
You'll find once, you'll get those little pieces that you wouldn't have had.
For sure.
Ugh, man, I feel like I feel great. That was a great conversation. I feel like I learned so much.
Oh, well, I appreciate, and again, I'm not here I don't want to act like I have all my shit together because I need to get better and I need to grow. But listen, as somebody that's done some things, those are the insecurities because we all have we all have our days of depression. We all have our days of anxiety and insecurity. And I lean into it. I lean into the fear of it and just I'm able to be like, yeah, man, it was a scary thing to do, but it just makes you better.
For sure.
All
right. I feel like everyone must be very motivated.
I hope, listen, come to my shows. Paul Virzi.
Yeah, plug away. What would you like to plug?
When does this come out?
I think it's I've got a lot going on. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, if this comes out by June 8th, which is a month from now, I'll be at the Gramercy Theater in New York City, doing that as a makeup date. I have Seattle and Portland coming up in July. I have Tampa coming up. I have Rhode Island coming up. We're adding more dates. The special is on Netflix right now called Nocturnal Admissions, streaming right now. I have a podcast called The Virzi Effect. I also have a podcast with Bobby Kelly called Bone to Pick. And, all the dates at paulvirzi.com. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, of course.
Bye, guys.